Hey there, welcome back again, guys. So, did you read the story about Billy Ray? Wow, that's an interesting story, right? This one here, it was there on your study guide too. What a difficult situation he was living, and what a situation the ring made on his life as well, right? What would you have done in his situation? Hard question, isn't it? So, continuing on our grammar topics over here, this last grammar topic is very closely related to the first one. Remember, in the first one, we talked about the first conditional and also the second conditional. We reviewed those two conditional types of sentences. Now we're moving further. We're going to talk about the third conditional. Here, it is very important to relate all of them. So, just to refresh your minds even more, we use the first conditional. So, for example, if I win the lottery, I will travel a lot. So, I'm talking about a future perspective, right? I didn't win the lottery, but if I do, so I'm talking about the future, I will travel in the later future as well. So first I need in the future win the lottery, and later, if I win, I will travel a lot. So this is the first condition. The second conditional talks about the present situation. So, for example, if coronavirus weren't around, I would be traveling for my job, right? So I'm talking about the present. So it means that coronavirus is around us. So now in the present, I can't move. I can't travel. So what is the third conditional about? And that's what we're going to check, okay? So let's take a closer look over here. First of all, I want you to do this first exercise over here. So we have complete these sentences from the story with the correct forms of the verbs, and then complete the rule. So what I want you to do now, I want you to pause the video, go back to the story over here, this one, the day Billy Ray's life changed forever. Try to find these two sentences here in the text and complete them just like in the text. So basically you need to copy the sentences from the text, okay? So again, pause the video, go back to the text, complete the sentences. Later, come back here and then we check the answers. All right? Go on. So, could you find the sentences? Let's complete them and see if you got them right, okay? So the first one is, if Billy had looked up, he would have seen a young lady on her way to work, okay? And number two, if he hadn't done the right thing, he wouldn't have seen his sisters again. Let's check. What? Oh, yeah. Now I got it. Hadn't done, hadn't done the right thing. Now it's correct. The problem was in the apostrophe. Okay, so again, sentence number one. If Billy had looked up, he would have seen a young lady on her way to work. And number two, if he hadn't done the right thing, he wouldn't have seen his sisters again. Okay, so these are the sentences exactly like they are in the text. Coming back here, we have to complete the rule now. And the rule now will show us what is the function of the third conditional related to the first and the second. So the rule says, we use the third conditional to talk about situations and their outcomes in the past. So now we are talking about hypothetical situations, so imaginative situations, but back in the past. Imagining if in the past we had done things different, the consequences back there in the past would have been different too, right? So here we need to complete the rule. This one I'm going to show you how to complete it. Actually, it is already completed here. So we have here, the rule says, again, we use the third conditional to talk about situations and their outcomes in the past. We form it with if plus the past perfect plus would or wouldn't, have, and the past participle. Wow, seems very crazy, but going to the next exercise here, right, number 2, which is here, we can see this construction. So, using the third conditional, we have to complete, but let's compare with the rule first. So the rule says, if plus past perfect plus would or wouldn't plus have plus past participle as well. So here we have if past perfect, okay, the first part, and the second part is would or wouldn't have, or wouldn't have, and seen, which is the past participle of the verb to see. Okay, so the construction is always the same. In the if part here, in the if part, I always use past perfect, and the next part of the sentence I need to use would or wouldn't, and the have, and the past participle. Okay? Thinking about this, thinking about the rule, and following this example here, I want you to complete sentences 1, 2, and 3 with the third conditional, right? So you have the verbs in parentheses here, and you need to check what part is the if part and the other the consequence part of the sentence. So pause the video and try to complete sentences 1, 2, and 3 with the third conditional. Then come back here for us to check. All right? All right, so let's complete the sentences and see if your answers are close to the correct ones we are looking for over here. Okay, so first one, Sarah, and then the verb is to see, the ring, if she, the verb is look, in the cup. So we can say, she didn't look to the cup, right? Because the story tells us that Billy was the person who dropped the ring, right? In the case, Sarah didn't see anything. So we're talking about a different situation. Okay, so as she didn't see, we need to say Sarah would have seen the ring if she had looked in the cup. So this is the hypothesis about the past, which means that the real situation was Sarah didn't see the ring because she didn't look in the cup. Okay? Now, number 2, Billy, the verb is keep, the ring if Sarah the verb is not returned. So the same thing. Billy would have kept. Remember, we need to use would have in the past participle of the verb if Sarah hadn't, because we need to use the negative, returned. Okay? Same thing here. Billy didn't keep the ring. Why? Because Sarah returned. But we're imagining a different situation in the past. So we can say, Billy would have kept the ring if Sarah hadn't returned. Okay? And finally, number 3. Sarah, the verb is not raise so much money if she not put her story on the internet. So, what did Sarah raise a lot of money? Yes, she got like $185,000, right? So, she raised a lot of money. Why? Because she put her story on the internet. So we are imagining a different situation from that. So Sarah wouldn't have raised so much money if she hadn't put her story on the internet. So what's the actual past? She raised a lot of money because she put her story on the internet. Okay? But we're imagining a possible different past situation. Let's check our answers. Well done, guys. Was it too difficult? My tip here to work with the third conditional is always to try to make these questions like I was making just before while completing the exercise. For example, number 0, right? If Billy had been on a different street, was Billy on a different street? No, he wasn't. He was on that specific street. Sarah wouldn't have seen him. This is the consequence. So, because Billy wasn't on a different street, Sarah saw him. This is the actual past. But again, we're imagining a different possibility for the past action. So if Billy had been on a different street, okay, so imagining, Sarah wouldn't have seen him. Okay, this is the rule for the third condition. All right? Then, the challenge for you now is you can complete sentences 1, 2, and 3 here. For example, if I hadn't gone to school today, or this one you can change, right? If I hadn't stayed at home today, what would you have done? So, I'm telling, I know you stayed at home today, and you did probably things, right? But if you hadn't stayed at home, what would you have done differently? 2, I'd have been really happy if, so what might had happened for you to have been really happy in the past? Okay, and 3, if I had been born 100 years ago, so imagine you were born in 1920, what would you have done? Okay, you can write the sentences or you can record an audio message and send it to a classmate or your teacher. All right? So, this is it for this grammar video. Okay, so this is the last grammar video of Unit 4. We have just one to go, but we're going to have fun with some pronunciation aspects. All right? Can't wait to see you again. Bye.